Okay, we're going to address absolute values that shows up in an equation. But before we do that, we really need to talk about a bigger concept to make sure you understand this. And once you understand the concept, applying it really is very simple. So let's think about this for a second. If I had some number inside the absolute value, and I said it equaled 8, what's a number I could put there that makes this a true statement? Well, most people are going to say, hey, that works right there. And you would be correct. Absolute value of 8 is 8. What about this, though? Is that also correct? The absolute value of 8 is 8. The absolute value of negative 8 is 8. Remember, absolute value just is saying how many units away from 0 is it? It's always a positive number. So both this situation and this situation are correct, which means there are two answers to everything that has to do with absolute value. There are two possibilities. Okay, so let's apply that to this situation over here in the red. I've got an equation. It's got an x in there. Don't worry about that. You know how to do algebra. We need to think about the concept. Okay. This stuff in here, just like this stuff in here, could equal 8, right? 2x minus 1 equals 8. Well, that's what it says right there without the absolute value bars. However, that stuff could also equal negative 8, right? And then once you apply the absolute value, it turns into positive. So it could also be this. Okay, and this is a hard part to follow at first unless you think about the concept. So I make that better. This stuff could equal positive 8, and this stuff could equal negative 8. So I guess I should have drawn this one over to that positive 8. Okay, so basically when I see absolute value, it means eventually I'm going to have to solve two different equations, and that doesn't mean that the answers are going to necessarily come out to be anything like each other. You'll see in this example here. So if I solve this one, I add 1 to both sides, and I get 2x equals 9. And I divide by 2, and I get x equals 9 halves. Over here, I add 1 to both sides, and I get 2x equals negative 7. X is negative 7 halves. See how those numbers are completely different from each other? It's not like they're just positives and negatives or opposites. They're completely different values. So what we're going to deal with, anytime you see absolute value bars, you need to isolate these things first. Get that stuff by itself. So if there's something else over here, move it to the other side first. And then split it into two different equations and solve each one by themselves. A lot of times people will come up with this answer pretty easy. They forget this one right here even exists because they don't remember what absolute value represents.